Talking about good, Kellyanne Conway, counselor to the president, been very good to the president, and now we're at another milestone. Through the midterms, we got to get the perspective of what it was like in the White House and where we go for today. Kellyanne, welcome back.
Good morning.
Well, thanks for having me this morning. The president and the first lady, the vice president, second lady, flanked by family and friends and senior staff last night, watched those returns come in for a number of hours. The president had many phone calls, and he, including with Nancy Pelosi, who somehow on the phone didn't mention investigations and subpoenas, didn't mention that in her comments last night. And who knows who the Democrats will choose as their leaders in the House, because even though they've won a few seats here and there, this president has made history yet again last night. You know, in the last 80 years, the party in power has only picked up 8 Senate seats. And last night, the president, through his leadership and his engagement on the ground for these candidates again and again, has produced at least 3 new Senate seats. So 8 over the last 80 years, 3, possibly 5, as the count still goes on. That's truly historic. Also, I just think that the president has put everybody in a great position to talk about this historic economy. And there are a number of candidates who seemed allergic to the president on the Republican side. They didn't want him to campaign for them. They lost last night. You had people like Claire McCaskill pretending that she works with the president, saying, I'm not, quote, one of those crazy Democrats. She also this morning is not even one of those elected Democrats. So without the president's engagement on the ground, 53 rallies since he took office, 30 just in the last 2 months since Labor Day, an intensive 6-day swing leading up to Election Day, all the time being president at the same time, with historic gains. That last day alone, the 3 people he went and campaigned for, Mike DeWine for governor of Ohio, Mike Braun, senator now from Indiana, Josh Hawley in Missouri, huge pickups, particularly in those 2 Senate seats, those flipped from Democrat to Republican, on the strength of the president showing up to packed houses, historic rallies, and overflow crowds.
Kellyanne,
there's just no substitute for his engagement.
You mentioned a moment ago that Nancy Pelosi didn't mention investigations on the call. Maybe she'll change her ways. Maybe she'll focus on deal making. What's the president willing to do to meet Democrats halfway?
Well, the president already has shown in the first couple of years, Ed, that he's willing to meet the Democrats. We just 2 weeks ago had historic bipartisan legislation on the opioid and drug crisis. Actually, every Democrat in the House voted for that law that the president signed into law. All but every Democrat in the Senate voted for it. So he has shown that when he elevates an issue and leads, that they follow. They will join with him. He also tried to make a deal on DACA almost a year ago, last January. Where's that deal? The Democrats walked away from the table. This president's made very clear he wants that wall. $1.6 billion already toward it. He wants that wall. But immigration is a very large and complicated, complex issue. The president has also said he's willing to make a deal on DACA. He also wants to end chain migration, the visa lottery system, and including building that wall. We are a sovereign nation that needs borders. The president elevating that issue helped in many of these races. He also wants to work with them on infrastructure, on spending bills. And I think what we're about to see is a tale of 2 Democratic parties here on Capitol Hill behind me. On the one hand, we want to work, we want to unify, we want to engage with the White House. And on the other hand, subpoenas and investigations. They'll do what they have to do, but at their own peril. Where is the appetite in some of these swing districts that Democrats narrowly won last night, where their voters are saying, look, you screwed up last year in not voting for this tax cut that has been historic and stimulated an economic boom that's unprecedented under President Trump, and you voted against that, and now all you're going to do is investigate and subpoena. So they have to be held to account. Look at all the Democrats who ran last night who promised their voters they would vote against Nancy Pelosi for Speaker. Dozens of them said that, and we'll see if they make good on that. But they already seem to be rejecting Medicare for all socialist policies.
Kellyanne, thank you so much. President
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.